Hello, my bookish darlings. One of the things I took into account when I picked a book for Shelf It or Shove It for October was the season. Yes, it is a season of the witch. And for those of you who follow me, you know that I picked Fairy Tale by Stephen King. Who am I? I am the booktube goddess, the #1 drag queen booktuber on YouTube. So I went ahead and came up with 10 reasons to read, or maybe not to read, Stephen King, depending on your perspective. Reason number 10, the genre. Now I got this from the fantasy section in Goodreads, so I was expecting more of a fantasy, and it read to me more like a horror novel. And I kind of doubt if you've never read any Stephen King, you're going to pick this one, but if you do and you're into fantasy, you don't really get into the fantasy part until 40 to 50% in. And I think it's more reminiscent of the Dark Terror series, which I loved, by the way, than some of the other Stephen King works. So it's up to you whether you like this genre of contemporary fantasy urban horror portal. Reason number 9, treasure. I don't read that many books where treasure plays an integral part in the storyline, but you do find it in Fairy Tale. I was kind of not expecting it, and I kind of loved it. Reason number 8, it is a portal fantasy. Insofar as there is a portal. What is a portal fantasy? It is, think Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, where people from our world enter a portal to go into another world. And there is usually not much logic or explanation of why this portal exists or why this other world exists. That's certainly true here, because I'm, at least for me, was always wondering, well, who the heck built this portal? Now, warning, if you are into portal fantasies and that's why you pick up this book, you don't get to the portal until a good, I think, 40–50% into the novel. But that's either a pro or a con, depending on your perspective. Reason number 7 is curses. There are some great curses in this story. And since the story is at least inspired by fairy tales, especially one particular fairy tale, and you have kind of a sick, twisted mind like me, you're going to be impressed by some of the very disturbing curses. Reason number 6 is the princess. Yes, Fairy Tale is the name of the novel, so of course there has to be a princess. This one, speaking of curses, has the best curse, or the worst curse, however you want to think about it. This curse really made me sit up and go, whoa. You've got to read the novel to find out what the curse is, but the princess is a character you're probably going to remember because of the curse. Reason number 5 is the father-son relationship. The main character, Charlie, is a 17-year-old boy, and his father is a recovering alcoholic, and they have a great dynamic. They have a great relationship. I ended up really liking this father, wishing it was my father, but ultimately the father was flawed, and in spite of that, he had this really wonderful relationship with his son, raising him as a single parent. Reason number 4 is Mr. Bowditch. He's the old man who lives down the street, who's a shut-in, who Charlie, the main character, befriends. There are some very good reasons why Charlie and Bowditch are thrown together, but this old man, he is just a character. He is funny, he is mean, he is world-weary, and he loves his dog more than anything else in the world. How can you not enjoy Mr. Bowditch? Number 3 is our main character, Charlie. I mentioned before, he's a 17-year-old boy, but he's also a jock, not someone I would normally identify with. But there's just such rich detail in his backstory and his thinking and how he acts. We get to know his tragedy concerning his mother, his relationship with the father that I told you about earlier, and of course his relationship with Mr. Bowditch and Mr. Bowditch's dog. But the best thing about Charlie is his moral compass. He is one of those characters that just has this really strong moral compass to do what's right, and he regrets constantly some of the misdeeds he did when he was young. And it's not like murdering anyone, it's like putting dog poo in a mailbox, that type of thing. But even those little childhood pranks haunt him and make him wonder if he's a good person or not. But of course he is. And over again, I just couldn't help being in love with Charlie. The number 2 reason to read Fairy Tale is the dog, Radar. Radar is this old German Shepherd that had her glory days when she would scare the kids, but now she is just old and decrepit, much like Mr. Bowditch. But this dog is the central theme of the entire novel. Believe it or not, it is this dog, Radar. And there is nothing crazy about the dog. It doesn't like talk. There's nothing magical or unusual about this dog. It's just an old, tired dog who loves his master and comes to love Charlie. And it got me. It got me. There's a loving pet in a novel, and it's well done. You got me. The number 1 reason to read Fairy Tale by Stephen King, you may have guessed by the last few reasons I mentioned, it's his writing of characters. His characterization is bar none. There's a reason why Stephen King has become so popular, and in my opinion, it's because of the detailed characters that he somehow brings to life. He brings so much detail into their lives that they feel so real, and there's no difference in Fairy Tale. I feel like I knew Charlie, I knew Mr. Bowditch, I knew the dog, I knew the father. I mean, you read it for those characters. That being said, I think my favorite part of the novel is before he goes into the portal and finds the Fantasyland. It's everything that leads up to that. All the relationship build up between Charlie and Bowditch and the father and Radar and other people they meet along the way. I really liked the writing that was set in our real world much more than I did in the magical world, which is kind of odd since you know I love speculative fiction so much. But there you go. It's Fairy Tale, the type of Stephen King novel you would like to read. Let me know down in the comments. And while you're there, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. I have to admit this is not my favorite Stephen King book, but I think it's still good enough to get my blessing. I hope you have a dark and spooky Halloween. Until we meet again, may all the books you read be wicked.